We are back with our midweek NFL DFS update, and we are going to be clear about what changed from yesterday and why, using matchup data, salary context, recent form, ownership leverage, and a couple of news notes that matter. At quarterback, we are pivoting from Joe Burrow to Baker Mayfield at 6,600. The draw against Atlanta grades as one of the worst defenses overall by opponent rank at 29, and Baker carries a dash rank of 100 with a clean 20-point projection. He is averaging 24 fantasy points per game, with recent scores of 17, 38, and 26, so the ceiling is intact at modest ownership around 6%. The news cycle has actually been supportive of this bet, with multiple pieces highlighting that it is an important time for the Tampa Bay quarterback and that Baker Mayfield and Jared Goff have both made major comebacks into the top tier. That aligns with the data and gives us a leverage path in tournaments at a lower tag than the elite chalk. For a salary saver, we are moving off Spencer Rattler and listing Kirk Cousins at 4,600 strictly as a news-dependent tournament pivot. Tampa Bay is a middle-of-the-pack defense overall by opponent rank at 22. He is projecting at 0 right now and sitting around 1% owned, which tells you the field is unsure about his role. Reports around Atlanta include a brutal subplot at quarterback and even trade rumor chatter in recent days. So if Cousins is confirmed as the starter, the price unlocks the slate. If he is not, we simply do not use him. At running back, we are staying the course with Devon Achane at 6,900. Indianapolis rates as one of the worst defenses overall by opponent rank at 28. Achane has a dash rank of 100, a 19-point projection, and 1% projected ownership, which is tournament gold attached to explosive efficiency. He is questionable, so we will monitor, but Miami coach Mike McDaniel offered a crucial injury update ahead of the season per recent reporting, which keeps us optimistic. The recent 634 and 15 illustrates the volatility we want for ceiling at low ownership. If you need a true punt, Zamir White at 4,000 is only for large field builds. New England sits as one of the worst defenses overall by opponent rank at 21. He is likely to be almost unowned, and his recent game logs have been zeros, but several articles note the Raiders have the worst rushing start and that White was set to take the reins in 2024. If late-week reports hint at a workload swing, he can open salary, but understand the floor is fragile. At wide receiver, we are keeping Ja'Marr Chase at 8,100 as a core spend, even though we moved off the full Burrow stack. Cleveland is one of the worst defenses overall by opponent rank at 23. He projects for 20 with a dash rank of 100, ownership near 10%, and he has a stable recent run of 22, 22, and 18. Training camp coverage confirms he is fully ramped for 2025, and even the Madden ratings discourse has him among the elite. This is the right one off to keep because the ceiling is slate-breaking in a soft overall matchup. For value, we are sticking with Xavier Legette at 4,200. Jacksonville is one of the worst defenses overall by opponent rank at 31. He projects around 9 points with about 5% ownership, and his recent 8, 0, and 3 tells you the range is wide. Several features have him listed among the rising talents for 2025, and Carolina needs his playmaking. This remains a salary saver that fits game environments we want to attack. At tight end, we are pivoting from Trey McBride to David Njoku at 4,700 to capture salary relief and leverage. Cincinnati is one of the worst defenses overall by opponent rank at 24. He projects around 13 with a dash rank of 100, and the field is already taking notice at roughly 14% ownership. Njoku's recent 0, 15 and 0 is volatile, but he carries real red zone equity and stacks well with Cleveland exposure in a game we like for pace. League-wide injury roundups have not flagged him, and recent coverage around the Browns has him very visible, which aligns with his on-field role. If you are punting the position, Tommy Tremble at 2,500 is a pure salary play if active. Jacksonville again rates as one of the worst defenses overall by opponent rank at 31. He projects around 2 with essentially zero ownership, and the recent 0, 6, and 4 shows there is at least a path to beating the tag. He is questionable, so we will confirm status before using him. For the flex, we are moving from Puka Nakua to Nico Collins at 7,400. The Rams rate as one of the worst defenses overall by opponent rank at 25. Nico projects around 17 with about 12% ownership, and his recent 13, 28, and 9 cites nicely with his 19 fantasy points per game baseline. The key midweek news here is that CJ Stroud is back in action, which stabilizes Nico's target quality. This is a clean mid-premium pivot that pairs well with our other spends. If you need a stone minimum dart, Jimmy Horn Jr. at 3,000 is a deep tournament-only flyer. Jacksonville's defense is one of the worst overall by opponent rank at 31. He projects around 2 with essentially no ownership, and the profile is strictly about salary and game environment. The Panthers drafted him in the 6th round, and if beat writers hint at a roll bump late in the week, he can be used to unlock a stars and scrubs build. On defense, we are moving from the Packers to the Dolphins at 2,700. Indianapolis sits as one of the worst defenses overall by opponent rank at 20. Miami projects around 6 points at sub 3% ownership, and this correlates positively with our interest in a can in a favorable script. If you want to save more, we are keeping the Titans at 2,200 against Denver, who have a middle-of-the-pack defense overall by opponent rank at 19. Tennessee projects around 5 with roughly 2% ownership, and the recent defensive scores of 3, -1, and 6 capture the normal volatility at this price. Quick recap of the midweek adjustments and the why. We pivoted to Baker Mayfield for a salary-friendly ceiling in a matchup against one of the worst defenses overall, kept Devon Achane as our leverage RB while monitoring his questionable tag after Mike McDaniel's update, held Jamar Chase as a standalone ceiling receiver, moved to David Njoku for tight end value and leverage, and swapped the flex to Nico Collins after positive quarterback news on CJ Stroud. We also aligned our defense with that chain game script by choosing the Dolphins and kept the Titans as the cheap alternative. Monitor final statuses on Achane and Tommy Tremble. Watch for any late-week clarity on Kirk Cousins' role. And be ready to rotate in Zamir White or Jimmy Horn, Jr. only if the news points to expanded opportunity. That is our edge for this slate, and exactly why we are making these calls.